So the game at, gosh, where were you? Nevada.
San Jose State, Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada. When you were in that kind of game, you needed that extra thrust. With playing 3 games in 6 days on the road, do you think that was part of it, or was it just simply a shooting, you just couldn't get that key 3 to fall?
That Nevada game was a tough game. It was, in some ways, a pretty good indicator of kind of where we are right now in terms of what still has to get better. Nevada's a quality team. They're not one of the best teams in the conference, but they're right in the middle. They're kind of with us. I feel like Nevada is going to be right there with us, just like they were last year. And so it was important to potentially get a road win against them. But they play good defense and they work really hard, and they got some big kids, and they've got some kids that can play, and so we knew it was just going to be a tough game. We knew it was going to just be a grind the whole time, and it was. And we didn't shoot the ball as well as we did against San Jose State. If we had, we would have won the game. But I also think that we did some good things. We did some really good things in terms of being able to score against a team that I think is a good defensive team. But that's what I was upset about, is that I don't think our defense is where it needs to be yet. 60 points should have beaten those guys. And I feel like we need to get better defensively. And we have to stop having breakdowns. That's the bottom line. We have to stop having breakdowns, and that's what I'm really on them about. Why are the breakdowns happening? How do we fix them? How do we get better? How do we get the communication better so they don't happen? Those types of things.
What's the common denominator in those? Like, is it committing the ball and leaving somebody?
Yeah, it's the doggone points in the paint, and to keep points in the paint from happening. We know we don't have any size, so we know people are going to throw it inside and that sort of thing. But for the most part, that doesn't typically hurt us because we do have a style of defense that makes it tough to get the ball inside. But it's the dribble penetration, it's the isolation stuff that happens in the key, and we have to play better team defense. That was something we were really good at last year. There was always somebody to help you out if your kid got into the key. There was always a set of hands or an extra body that came out of nowhere and made it tough for you to finish a shot if you got into the key. So we know we're going to get out rebounded. We're kind of okay with that. Not okay, but that's something we knew we'd have to battle. We have to get better at team defense. That was something we were better at last year.
Who's the defensive leader?
Lately, it's been Madison Smith. I mean, we've been asking an awful lot of her, and she's been out there, chasing down the point guards, and I think we sort of need to change that. I do think that Nikki is our defensive leader. I mean, Nikki's the one. Madison often has to set the tone because she has to provide the pressure and the energy, out top. Much like Sierra did for us last year. But Nikki is our defensive general. She's the post player, and she understands it, and she's a very good communicator on the floor. So I feel like we can get there. I think it has an awful lot to do with a lot of freshmen playing, and freshmen are never any good on defense. It always takes a while. It always takes. I mean, Madison didn't know anything about defense a year ago either, and now we're asking her to guard the best kid on the team, each time. So it's a lot of freshmen playing, and then it's, having lost just a terrific defensive player in Sierra Winters.
With Madison, had she come in 4 years ago, 5 years ago, would she have still needed that freshman year to kind of learn, or would she have been thrust right into things?
Hard to say. I mean, she probably would have had to play right away and just had to learn on the fly. But that's why I have so much respect for how much she's improved, because she didn't play that much last year. And I just think it's pretty phenomenal, actually. I don't know that I've ever seen a player take that much of a jump in 1 year.
I guess that's my question. Was that there on the practice field practice court?
Practice field.
Or, sorry, got to transition sport. Or was this a totally new player?
There
you
was
found?
glimpses of her offensive ability for sure. We knew she could shoot it. Madison's always been a great shooter, and then she kept getting better and better at being able to get to the rim and stuff. But certainly we saw signs of it. But there was so much more hesitancy, which is often what happens as freshmen. They hesitate and then they lose their windows. And now she's just no hesitation.
And how important is that, to keep Camry in a spot where she doesn't have to be as high volume shooter, to have someone basically step into that Riley
Well,
Snyder?
having anybody that can score for us is important. But you're right. That what made Riley such a terrific offensive player is that she had no hesitation. Just if it felt good, it was going up, and that's what a scorer should act like. And you have to live with. And remember, we also had Lauren McDonald, who was also very much that way. She came in, never saw a shot she didn't like, and you need people like that. I just think people like that are important for your team mentality, and we're trying to develop. We do have. I do think Camry's very much that way, and I do think Madison's very much that way, and I think we just have to maybe get. I just think we have to get better defensively. I honestly do. I think we're going to continue to make progress offensively.
Having a smaller team physically, I would know how important is it to keep them in the game mentally and continue to have confidence?
I think the hardest thing with our size is we have to play so doggone hard. And now we've got a stretch coming up. Yes, we're at home, but it's going to be 3 games in 6 days at home. And so keeping the energy level up, keeping the intensity. There's not much in between, all out and not so much all out. We have to be functioning at a really high level when it comes to effort, energy, all of that, to be successful, and so trying to keep that level of intensity up is. So far there hasn't been anything that has happened that didn't happen a year ago, but I think the conference is interesting. I think certainly San Diego State's obviously proving they're much better, they're much improved, and that was a team that we beat twice last year. I don't know, that's going to be rough, and then. Wyoming is still Wyoming. I'm just looking at the roster, and it's the same response I quite often have, which is, she's still here, and there's so many of them. They're still here. So it's going to be. So Wyoming's playing great. New Mexico's very, very talented. UNLV's playing great. San Diego State's playing great. It's going to be rough.
You touched on it. This is not an easy conference by any means, and January is the start of the harder conference games. Mm-hmm. Do you take it game by game, or what is your message when they look at these opponents?
Heck, we take it trip by trip. I'm not even sure we look much beyond the next time we have to go down the floor on offense or defense, and that's just what we have to. We just want to get better. I'm so big on that. I'm so big on, hey, let's just improve. Let's just keep getting better, because things tend to take care of themselves if you keep getting better. And if as long as we keep getting better, that's what matters most to me.
Looking back at your 4 games, records tied at 2-2. How do you sort of control, the team coming off a high winning and then, leaving the next game with a loss?
Well, that's basketball, and you have to, you just have to move on to the next game. It was, I think, the road's always tough. So no matter what, when you win on the road, you're happy, and we were certainly happy after the San Jose State game. But we knew that Nevada game was going to be a dogfight, and Wyoming's going to be a dogfight, and they're all going to be dogfights. So what the heck? We just have to keep going, just keep going.